One lawsuit just exposed the biggest fear in retail. In today's episode, we're talking about the fact that Williams Sonoma is now suing Quince. But the real story is what this shift in consumer behavior tells us about the value that people place on established brands. It exposes a real shift in consumer priorities, the rise of the dupe economy, and the growing tension between legacy brands and newer companies that offer luxury-inspired products at just a fraction of the cost. I'm Sammi Cohen, and this is Social Currency, a podcast that unpacks the stories that are shaping business, culture, and the intersection of the two. This episode is a follow-up to the short video I did on my socials about this lawsuit. And the comments I received on that video told me a very clear story that, to be honest, I was a little bit surprised by. By the end of this episode, I am going to walk through the consumer shift that has revealed itself through the unwavering popularity of Quince. It explains why Quince has exploded, why legacy brands are panicking, and why this lawsuit could actually backfire for Williams Sonoma in an unexpected way. If you want to understand the real reason why this case matters and what it reveals about the next chapter of the dupe economy, you'll want to stick around. First things first, Williams Sonoma owns Pottery Barn, West Elm, Mark & Graham, among many other home brands that are known for their somewhat mass market appeal and distinctive designs. It was founded in 1956, so it has almost 70 years of legacy. Quince, on the other hand, is a disruptor in the entire consumer goods category. They're an e-commerce company that launched in 2018 with a very simple promise: high-quality essentials at dramatically lower prices. They've grown at an explosive clip and are emerging as a major player that is taking market share from many companies across the apparel and home spaces. And their pitch is that they work directly with factories, cut out middlemen, and then pass the savings on to the customer. And that message has caught on very quickly, especially as people become more and more price sensitive over the last few years. The brand has built its reputation by recreating the look and feel of many luxury products across fashion, home, and lifestyle categories. There are lots of cashmere sweaters, linen bedding, leather bags, rugs, and even furniture that resembles items from far more expensive brands. Quince studies what is trending online, identifies the styles that shoppers are already searching for, and produces its own version at just a fraction of that retail price. They add roughly 200 new items every month, which keeps the site feeling fresh and endlessly scrollable. When you walk into their office, everything from the sofas to the rugs to the perfume bottles looks like something that you could find at another retailer such as Pottery Barn. And that's the point. Their target customer wants a clean, minimalist, elevated aesthetic, but they don't want to pay luxury level markups. That strategy has resonated so strongly that Quince is doing over $1 billion in annual revenue with a cult-like following. And the brand has also invested heavily in technology. They use data scraping to understand which products are trending at other retailers, and then they use that specific information to decide what to produce next. And they're doing this very quickly. They claim to improve items using customer feedback, and they lean on aggressive social ads that highlight how much cheaper their products are compared to well-known brands, which will be a major part of what we're covering today. This comparison-first marketing is a huge part of their identity. So for many shoppers, Quince represents a new kind of value shopping. It feels elevated without being expensive. It looks premium, but of course doesn't have that premium price. And if you've ever wanted that Jenny Kane look, but couldn't quite justify the price, Quince is the brand saying, we can give you something very similar, but for a lot less. Whether you love that model or question it, it has become one of the most influential forces in today's retail landscape. Let's get into the lawsuit. So the suit alleges that Quince engages in deceptive marketing that misleads consumers and unfairly leverages Williams Sonoma's brand equity. The first major issue here is the comparison charts on Quince's website. If you've ever seen anything on Quince, you know what I'm talking about. These charts are everywhere. These charts appear on almost every product page and compare Quince items to specific competitors at significantly higher prices. Williams Sonoma argues that the charts exaggerate competitor pricing and that the comparisons aren't even accurate since they are sometimes referencing products that are either not even in existence or they don't exist at that exact price point. The filing includes an example where Quince said a Pottery Barn sectional costs over $5,000 when the most similar sectional at Williams Sonoma actually retailed for closer to $3,600. And the lawsuit also highlights several social media ads. These include TikToks and Instagram posts where Quince claims that certain rugs or cookware sets are like Pottery Barn or like Williams Sonoma at half price. And Williams Sonoma says that these statements are obviously misleading because the original versions of these products never even existed. For clarity's sake, Sid Gupta, who is the CEO of Quince, has stated that comparative advertising is perfectly legal, and he defends his company's ability to compare their products to other brands. Now, there are also questions about Quince's material claims. In several cases, the company used incorrect or invalid organic cotton certifications on products like sheet sets and towels, and textile experts questioned whether certain materials could realistically be offered at those price points. And yet another element in the complaint focuses on the Quince reviews. Quince has a surprisingly high number of 5-star reviews on their site. Each product has a product review section where people write in commentary about the items themselves. Williams Sonoma is alleging that Quince incentivizes customer reviews with reward points and does not clearly disclose this, and highlights the 5-star ratings while hiding or minimizing critical ones. One advertisement showcased a cookware set that supposedly had over 200,000 5-star reviews, yet the actual product had only 37 reviews at that time. Meanwhile, Quince maintains that these price comparisons are honest and that transparency is part of their core mission, and they've stated publicly that they believe that this lawsuit is unfounded. And outside of this Williams Sonoma lawsuit, Quince has also faced lawsuits from other major brands. Just to name a few, there's Deckers, which is the parent company behind Uggs, and Tapestry, which is the parent company behind Coach. So now let's talk about the consumer feedback on Quince from what I've personally seen. And this is where you guys voiced your opinions quite strongly. When I posted my original Quince video, the overwhelming majority of responses were very positive, which honestly surprised me to see how many of you had raving reviews about Quince. Many of you said the brand offered great value for the price point and that the quality met or exceeded expectations for most categories. And there were specific criticisms, of course. A number of people mentioned that the Quince sweaters or cashmere pieces pilled more quickly than premium brands did. But on the whole, shoppers felt that the trade-off was still worth it. And that is the key shift here. People know that the quality may not match a luxury brand point for point, but they are comfortable with that. And they would rather pay less and get something that feels close enough, or maybe 70% of the way there, than pay significantly more for the name brand. And this is not a marginal trend. It is a real shift in how people evaluate cost, quality, and value. Consumers today are practical and price sensitive. They still care about aesthetics and materials, but they do not want to overspend. They've become more thoughtful about where their money goes and what is worth that premium. And this attitude is exactly what has fueled dupe culture today. It's not about fakes. It's about democratizing certain looks and acknowledging that the visual outcome often matters more to people than the label itself. And that is the force behind Quince's success. And yet another interesting piece of the story is that Quince has begun introducing pantry staples. For the holidays, they released items like champagne and caviar. In the Wall Street Journal piece on Quince from November, they stated that they will now go into more premium foods in 2026. And this, of course, is not the first time that this type of brand has tried this. Brandless attempted something similar years ago by offering minimally branded food and pantry items at low prices, and that model famously went up in flames. Food comes with its own set of challenges. Margins are tighter, regulations are stricter, and consumer loyalty is harder to win. People often prefer local brands or food companies that they have known for years, and transparency matters even more when it comes to what we eat. So for those reasons, I don't expect Quince to invest heavily in food for the long term, but I am curious to see how far they go with pantry items and beverages. And it shows their ambition to become a broader marketplace as well. Even if food is unlikely to become a core part of their identity, it is very interesting that they're even dipping their toe in this space. In summary, this lawsuit raises very important questions about how brands communicate value. If the court decides that these comparison ads cross a legal line, then we may see new rules about what companies can say when they position themselves against competitors. It could affect influencer ads, website copy, and even the broader category of dupe marketing as we know it today. And if Quince wins, we may see an even larger wave of brands using bold comparisons to compete for attention. We may see more companies leaning directly into this luxury for less message and using competitive charts as a core part of their sales strategy. But regardless of the outcome, one thing is clear. Consumers today want fairness and transparency. They want pieces that look good and feel good without paying a premium for that name. They want to stretch their dollars in a way that still feels elevated. And they're not as attached to legacy prestige, and they don't want to be told that a brand name inherently justifies a price markup. This lawsuit captures a moment where dupe culture is not just a trend on TikTok. It is influencing real legal cases, shifting industry strategies, and now changing how companies think about product development and pricing. And yes, it will be one of those defining forces in the next era of retail. And that is a wrap for today's episode. Definitely subscribe if you liked this episode, and it would mean the world to me if you shared this episode or the entire podcast with a friend who loves the intersection of business and culture. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Social Currency. I've been wanting to launch this show for so long. I can't tell you how excited I am to do this and how thrilled I am that you're actually here listening. It means the world to me. If you liked what you heard today, please rate and review the podcast because it massively helps to support the work I do to bring the show to life. And if you want to keep up with the hottest business lore in real time, follow me on Instagram at Sammi Cohen Talks and subscribe to my newsletter, Social Currency, which is linked in the show notes. Social Currency is a production of Social Currency Media and Money News Network. The podcast is hosted and executive produced by me, Sammi Cohen. Social Currency is produced by the Money News Network team. See you next time.